Who should be responsible for a management of your development team backlog? And how should the team collaborate on the backlog management? In this video, I will show you the best practices for setting backlog management responsibilities that I recommend. My name is Vladimir. I'm an Agile coach and this is Practical Agile. Regardless of the Agile methodology the team uses, should it be Scrum, Kanban or anything else, my recommendation is that there is always one single person in the team who is appointed as the owner of the backlog. This person must have an ultimate decision-making authority to prioritize the backlog, to set scope of individual tasks, to accept new tasks into backlog and to remove redundant tasks from the backlog. I will be referring to this person as to a backlog owner. In Scrum, a product owner role also contains backlog owner responsibilities, so the product owner is always the backlog owner. In Kanban, we usually don't have such dedicated role, so the team needs to appoint someone from the team who will be responsible for the backlog. It should be ideally someone who has a good level of domain and business knowledge, has some project management skills, is a good team player, and also has a good amount of respect across the team. So the role of a backlog owner is definitely not suitable for inexperienced or junior team members. The backlog owner has a responsibility for managing the backlog so that the backlog can fulfill its purpose. Please note that it does not mean that the backlog owner must do all the work on the backlog management himself or herself. He or she can, of course, request help from other team members, but he or she still remains accountable for the quality of the backlog. So the backlog owner must establish appropriate controls within the team that prevent uncontrolled and unapproved changes to the backlog. Maybe some of you ask why the backlog owner should be a single person. There are two main reasons for this. First, we need to define a clear accountability for the backlog management, and second, in situations when it is hard to come to a team consensus on a backlog-related discussions, having a single decision authority makes the decision process more effective and faster. The team itself also has some responsibilities, as the team collaborates with the backlog owner on the backlog management. It is very common that the backlog owner asks the team to update the backlog. For example, it might be necessary to do some technical research on a backlog item and based on the results, update its description or position in the backlog so that it is more accurate. Or it might be necessary to update dependencies among backlog items based on recent findings and reorder them in backlog based on these dependencies. And it does not have to be only the backlog owner who performs all these changes. In case the team helps the backlog owner with the backlog management, here are the rules that the team must follow. First and foremost, nobody is allowed to do any change to the backlog without an approval from the backlog owner. Backlog owner must be aware of all changes happening to the backlog and must review all changes to the backlog as soon as they happen, ideally before they happen. This applies to any significant updates to the backlog, including changing backlog items title, description, or other attributes, to changing priority of items in the backlog, and to removing and adding backlog items. It is always a responsibility of the person who updates the backlog to make sure that the backlog owner is aware about the change, so that he or she can review the change if necessary. There is also one often overlooked but critically important responsibility, and this is the responsibility of the management to support the backlog owner and to delegate the appropriate authority for making backlog-related decisions to this role. Management must make sure that this authority is known, understood and respected by all team members and by other stakeholders outside the team. The management must actively participate and must actively support the backlog owner in his role. This means that the management must be responsive and provide timely support for the backlog owner in cases when there are any backlog-related issues requiring management attention, intervention, or approval. Without the management support for the backlog owner, there is a high probability that any attempt to establish a good backlog management in the team is going to fail, and the backlog owner will most probably become ignored and bypassed. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and in this case, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel to support me in creation of other content for Agile community. I also recommend you to watch other videos from the Backlog Management series that I created. I will put links to those videos down into the description as well. Thank you for watching and see you in my next videos.